Welcome to the Maki Night team. I hope you are ready to start rolling some sushi and teaching classes. What I'm going to be doing for you today is showing you exactly how you are going to be teaching the class. It should be about 20 to 30 minutes for the whole entire thing. Normally you will be doing an introduction, you will be talking about the fun facts of sushi, and then getting right into the demonstration. The first demonstration is always going to be a California roll. I'm only going to show you how to do the California roll today because the second step is fairly easy. The second roll, whatever it's going to be, it will be a lot faster. So the way that you want to begin is you want to address the class. I'm going to go run through the whole entire thing, watch it, and you can rewatch it as many times as you need to kind of memorize the how you should do it. You can add your own spin to things, and you will also get a dialogue from me written down exactly what you should say and do step by step. Welcome to Maki Night, everybody. My name is Chef Sarah. I hope you guys will have as much fun with me tonight as I always do teaching the class. What I like to do is go over what you will be doing today. Right now I'm going to go into the introduction for the class. After that, I will go into a fun fact, history of sushi, and then I will hop right into what's in front of you and what you will be using today. If you're taking the class just to have fun with your friends or family, that is totally fine with me, but if you are taking the class to actually learn how to make sushi, I want you to know what you should buy for your house. We all have a knife or a cutting board at home, but you might not have the ingredients or the bamboo sheet or the sesame seeds, which you do need, which are the standard ingredients for sushi making. And then after that, I will go right into the demonstration of a California roll. That will take me a little bit of time. I like to go over every single step very slowly, explain to you why you're doing something so that you are successful tonight. After that one, I will go right into the demonstration of a veggie roll, which will be just cucumber avocado. That one will be a lot faster. I know you guys are hungry. You're probably like, I can't wait to eat. So I don't like to take too long. So what I'm going to be doing after that is just walking around, helping you, entertaining you, answering any questions, giving you tips and pointers about what to do when you are making your rolls. All right, everybody ready? Awesome, let's begin. So, does anybody know what the word sushi actually means? The word sushi actually means sour rice. Back in the day when the workers were working in the rice fields, they would collect rice and throw them in barrels. When they threw them in barrels, the rice would get sour over time. One day somebody decided to try it. I would love to meet that person. And they were like, this isn't so bad. And as the rice sat there and the rice kept, getting more and more sour, it would actually ferment. And so people started throwing fish into the rice barrels to ferment the fish, and that's a little bit how sushi came about. Not totally, the sushi that we eat today, or even the makimono that we eat today, but that's a little bit how the combination of that sour rice and the fish came about. One more question, does anybody know which country sushi comes from? So sushi actually comes from Japan. If you guessed Japan, you are right. Obviously, as with anything else, countries saw that, it was a popular thing and a cool thing to try, and they brought it to their own countries, just like we did here in America. Again, if you go to Japan or China, you are not going to be eating exactly the same exact makimono that you are eating here today or you do in the restaurant in America. Every country took sushi into their own culture and made it their own and put a spin on it. So if you do go to China or Japan, they do actually eat more of the sushi and sashimi, which I'll actually talk about next, rather than the makimono, especially the sweet potato or the chicken tempura, or any of the ones with, the deep fried or the spicy mayo. So our last fun fact of the day is there are 3 types of sushi. There's actually your sushi, which is the fish over the rice, that a lot of us eat. There's sashimi, which is just the fish itself, and then there's the makimono, hence Maki Night, which are the rolls. There are usually 2 types of rolls that you can have, rice on the outside or rice on the inside with the ingredients. I will be teaching you guys how to make the rolls with rice on the outside, ingredients on the inside. Can anybody guess why? The reason why I teach that is because it is a lot easier to roll when you have rice on the outside and ingredients on the inside. The rice helps stick better to the seaweed. It's also saves you a lot of space for your ingredients. Therefore, your rolls aren't huge and you're trying to roll them, and it's usually a little bit harder. Also, you do want to fit as much as you can inside of your rolls, and if rice is already in there, it's taking up some of that space. So you can't fit as much ingredients in there. You guys paid money to be here. You guys want to have fun. You want to have a nice big roll. So I want you to be able to fill them up with as much stuff as you can. Okay, that was my 5 minutes of history, fun facts. I will be mentioning some other fun facts throughout the class. Let's go right into what is in front of you. So as you came in your setup, you had your name tag and your apron. I see everybody put their apron on, awesome. The reason why we have the aprons is because they do look cool in pictures and in videos, but also to protect your clothing. The rice is like glitter, so it does go everywhere while we're making sushi. I just want to protect your clothes, so if it goes on anything, it goes on our aprons and not on your shirt. Your name tag should be on your apron. I like to call everybody by their name. Hey Kate, how you doing? Hey Sarah, I like your shirt today, instead of saying, hey pink shirt, stop, hey green shirt, you're doing amazing. So that's one of the main reasons why I use name tags. Also, you guys might not all know each other. You probably don't all know each other. So seeing somebody's name on their name tag kind of makes you feel like you already know them. And you can say, oh hey, Bob or Bill, I like the way you're rolling. So we have that. Underneath your name tag, you had your bamboo sheet. Your bamboo sheet is covered in plastic wrap. You do want to keep your bamboo sheet covered in plastic wrap throughout the whole entire class. There are 2 sides to your bamboo sheet. There's a green side and a tan side. The tan side is nice and round, and the green side is nice and flat. So the reason why we keep these wrapped in plastic wrap is because the rice is very, very sticky. We don't want the rice to stick to the bamboo or go in between the pieces of the bamboo, because it's just hard to clean and hard to get it out. The sides of the bamboo sheet will just help you when you are shaping your roll and kind of forming it into the shape that you want. The flat side is used for a flat top. The round side is used for the round top. All of your rolls will have a flat bottom and flat sides, so you can alternate the top, and that's really just a preference of how you want your roll to look. Underneath your bamboo sheet, you have your blue towel or pink towel. If everybody can raise their towel above their head and go, ooh, ooh. All right. With that pink towel or the blue towel, you are going to be primarily using to wipe down your cutting board or the surface that you're working on, whether if you're at home and you're working on a granite countertop or on a plate or a different cutting board. You just want to wipe down whatever you're working on, because the seaweed that we're working with is a dry roasted seaweed. You do want it to get a little bit of water to get flexible and ready to actually roll. Otherwise, it will actually tear on you if you're trying to roll it, just like this. And you don't want that to happen. To the right side of your bamboo sheet and your blue towel, you have chopsticks. Feel free to use those as you'd like. If you don't know how to use chopsticks, that is totally fine. We do not judge. You can use your fingers. I usually say you can use a fork, but we don't have any forks. But just be comfortable and use whatever you'd like, whether you like chopsticks or you don't like them, or you know how to use them or not. Everybody has a soy sauce container. You can use that for soy sauce, eel sauce, or spicy mayo, which we do also have here in the class. And if you have any questions or concerns throughout the class, just let me know. A couple last things is everybody has a sesame seed shaker in front of them. Everybody should have a square bucket and a round bucket in front of them. The square buckets are for your towels, and the circle buckets are for your knives, so that we're not sticking our hands into the same buckets as the knives, so we don't cut ourselves. And we have our knives. These are just regular knives that you would buy at the store. These are not your Japanese chef knives that cost $600–700. We want to give you guys an opportunity to learn how to make sushi with exactly everything that you would be able to do and recreate this class at home. So if you come here and you use a $600 knife and you go home and try to make sushi, you probably wouldn't be as successful if you think you have to use a $600 knife, or you'd go out and buy one for no reason. You can buy these on Amazon, Walmart, Marshalls, wherever you'd like, and as long as your knife is sharp, you are perfectly fine to use it. And the last thing, of course, is we have our cutting boards. You can make your sushi on there, you can cut your sushi on there, you can even eat your sushi off of there. If you don't want to eat it off of there, you can put it back into your sushi kit box or on a plate that we do have, and you guys can and eat it that way. Perfect. The very last thing also is that everybody will have a sushi kit with ingredients inside. For example, I have cucumber, avocado, crab stick, a little bit more avocado and cucumber for the second roll. You might have tuna or salmon in yours, or spicy tuna and salmon, depending on what you ordered. Anything that is in your kit, you feel free to use as you'd like. You don't have to make a California roll and a veggie roll. You can make an all fish roll. You can make an all cucumber roll. It is totally up to you. Once I hand you the kit, you can do whatever you'd like with it. Other things that we have is we have eel sauce, spicy mayo, wasabi, and ginger over there with your gloves and your seaweed. Very, very important thing to remember is always wear gloves when you're making sushi. Again, that rice is very, very sticky. It loves the oils on our fingers, and you don't want it to stick to your hands when you're actually trying to keep the rice on your roll and when you're trying to keep it nice and shut. When you guys are ready to roll, one thing is different about my setup is I have my rice already here in the bowl. You guys would be going up to grab your rice from the rice cooker every single time you're starting a new roll. You don't want your rice to sit out like mine is because it will start to get cold and clump up, and then it's harder to kind of spread apart on your seaweed. All right, everybody, is everybody ready to roll? Awesome, let's do it. So the very first thing, like I said, that you want to do is put your gloves on. You guys will head over there, grab your bowl of rice and your seaweed, and head back to your table. When you get back, you want to wipe down your cutting board just very, very gently across the whole thing. As you see, I'm not wringing out my towel on the cutting board. My towel's not dripping water. It should just be a little bit moist so that that seaweed picks up on some of those droplets of water. When you head over to the rice cooker, you want to grab a nice big handful of rice, just like this, and just gently form it into a ball. We're not making snowballs out of snow. You just want to gently form it so that if you carry it back to the table, it's not going everywhere and falling apart. With that rice ball, you want to grab your seaweed on the left top corner and bring it to your cutting board. Now your seaweed is a dry roasted piece of seaweed that usually does come in a whole sheet, so it's a lot bigger. These are just half sheets, and you always want to spread your rice on the rough side. It just sticks a lot better to your seaweed. Once you have that on your cutting board, you want to pinch that bowl of rice just like a Hubba Bubba gum or a snail shell and just unwrap it along the top, making a nice little wall. Once you do that, everybody wants to use their tickle fingers. Can everybody show me how they tickle each other? Awesome. You want to use your tickle fingers to bring that rice down gently, leaving the rice very, very fluffy all around, covering all of the corners and sides of your seaweed. That is very important for when you're rolling. You want to make sure that all the rice is on there so it does actually stick to the seaweed and keep your roll closed. Otherwise, your roll can fall apart. After your rice, you want to sprinkle your sesame seeds on top. Also, one thing to notice is that there shouldn't be any big bald spots sticking out from underneath of your seaweed, but you should be able to see little freckles. So if you look down when you're done spreading the rice and it's just all white, you want to take some rice off or just use less on your next roll because you do want to have that very close 50-50 ratio with your rice and your ingredients. Okay, perfect. So after your rice, you want to grab your sesame seeds, sprinkle those on top. If you don't like sesame seeds, you do not have to use them. If there's an ingredient that you don't like, I'm not going to make you use it. I'm not going to make you make a roll you're not going to like. So just let me know, or don't use it. If you love an ingredient and you want more, keep adding the sesame seeds or add more cucumber. It's totally up to you. When you're done, you want to slide your fingers underneath the seaweed just like that. Lift it up. You don't have to baby it or be super careful. As you see, that seaweed is a lot more flexible now than it was. And you want to just flip it over. What I like to do is begin with fish, or actually the biggest ingredient, because it's going to take up the most space, and it'll let me know, okay, I can only use a little bit more of the next ingredient. So for the California roll, I'm going to use 2 pieces of crab sticks. This is just 1 piece of crab stick that I actually cut in half. So you can use both of yours, or you can cut them both in half and have more, and that way you have more space for your other ingredients. You want to lay your ingredients all the way across from left to right on your piece of seaweed. You don't want to overlap your ingredients. You don't want to leave giant gaps in between because you want every piece of sushi to taste the same. So leave those very, very closely, nicely together, going from left to right. Your next ingredient would be avocado. If you have a bend in your avocado, most of you will from the pit, just try to straighten it out just a little bit so that it can take up a lot of space. And then you want to again make sure it's going from left to right, nice and evenly across. Then lastly, you want to grab some cucumber, put that across, lay it on top, and then the last thing you want to do before you're ready to roll is you actually want to measure that you don't have too little ingredients where your roll is going to be very tiny, and that you don't have way too many ingredients where your roll is going to fall apart or be really hard for you to roll and close. So can everybody do this for me? So this is how much space you want to have on both sides of your ingredients when you go nice and flat on both sides. So your ingredients are in the very middle, and you can fit 2 fingers on both sides, and also going up and down. I know I see a couple people in here that are probably going to say, well, that looks good and your ingredients are piled up to here. We don't want to do that. Again, it's going to make it harder for you to actually close your roll and keep it closed. So after you do your finger measurements and everything looks good, you want to slide your thumbs underneath on the left bottom corner of your seaweed. Pinch it just gently with your index fingers, and these 6 fingers are going to help you keep your ingredients in place as you're rolling. You do want to roll away from yourself, so you do have those 6 fingers rather than rolling towards yourselves when you just have your thumbs to try to catch all the ingredients if they're moving around. As you're rolling your sushi roll, you do want to be able to see this green lip of seaweed sticking out from underneath as you're getting towards the end, so that you know that the seaweed will overlap and your roll will close, and just keep rolling over it. When I'm done rolling, I like to flip my roll around, make sure the seam is gone, no ingredients are popping out, and place that seam on the bottom. You always want to place it on the bottom so that when you are shaping your roll and cutting it, you're always reinforcing that closure. For the bamboo sheet, when you are shaping your roll, there are 2 different tops that you can have. A flat top, which your roll would look more like a square, and a round top, which your roll would look more like an upside down U or a rainbow shape. Whichever one you want to stick with, or whichever one you want to do, or if you want to rotate, that is totally fine with me. I'm going to show you how to do the round top first. So what you want to do is place your bamboo sheet evenly on both sides of your sushi roll, just with a little bit of the sushi roll sticking out on one side. Now, does anybody know how to do the chicken dance? Yep. So you want to do the chicken dance with your hand all the way down to the floor on your sushi roll. As you see, your fingers are nice and straight, your thumb is straight. Put that right on the sides of your sushi roll. Give it a nice squeeze. Your other hand, as you're squeezing, will push all of this roll in. Don't be gentle with this part. You can be a lot more rough. You want to make sure that now that you've compacted the ingredients when you were rolling this way, you're pushing them in this way. So your roll is nice and airtight, so when you're cutting it, it doesn't fall apart. And just to fix those ugly outsides, I like to give it 2 more squeezes. And here you go, you have your nice shape. You're always going to have a flat bottom, flat sides, and a round top. Now when you're doing the flat top, you're just going to do the chicken dance, lift up your index finger and push down to make the top flat. When you are doing the chicken dance on your roll, you do want to make sure to keep those fingers straight. If you do this, which I call the crab dance, I will point you out. We will make fun of you. No, I'm just kidding. But you don't want to squeeze the bottom of your roll and then the top will stay big, because your roll will fall apart and it's going to look funny. So you want to just remember, straight fingers, chicken dance down to the floor. Now the last step is cutting. I like to wipe my knife down. It does help a lot to have a nice wet knife when you're working with the sticky rice. Otherwise the rice will just stick to your knife and it'll be harder for you to cut. You always want to use the whole entire length of your knife. You don't want to do the small, short cutting motion, because the rice will stick more and more every time. You do want to use a nice sewing motion using your whole arm, extending your whole arm back and forth. You want to grab your roll, hold it with one hand, find the middle of your roll, gently use the whole length of the knife until you kind of feel a pop. That pop is your knife going through the seaweed. Once you get through the seaweed, you can push down a little bit more to get through the other ingredients. Otherwise, if you just take your knife and push down from the beginning, now that the seaweed's gotten a little bit of that water, it will go straight down with your knife and it's not going to go through it. And then your ingredients are going to pop out on the sides. So you want to just take your time with it. After you cut your roll in half, you always want to put the 2 halves next to each other. The reason why we do that is because presentation is very important in the sushi culture. So again, you want to have a nice ratio between your rice and your ingredients, but you also want your roll to look very nice and presentable. It can already look messy, so if you cut it the wrong way or presented it the wrong way, people might not want to eat it, including you. So what I like to do is put the 2 halves next to each other and then cut it 2 more times so that I have those nice 6 even pieces. So cut it 2 more times, and then what you can do when you're done is you can flip your sushi rolls over, look on the inside. Everything should look nice and big. Your target focus point should be your ingredients with a nice thin line of rice on the outside. There should be very little to no air gaps inside of your sushi roll, and your rolls should stay together, especially when you pick it up with your chopsticks. If it doesn't, you guys are learning, it is your first time. I will give you pointers or tips on how to make your rolls better, but this is essentially what you're looking for. And like I said, you guys want to make your sushi on here. You can save it until you're done with the other one. You can eat it as you're making them. It is totally up to you. So how does everybody feel? Awesome. So I'm going to do the second roll a lot faster, and then you guys can jump right in and make your own rolls. So this is where you would show the second roll. You would put this one to the side, make your second roll, and then you would just say, okay everybody, I'm done, it's time for you to roll. If you guys want to head over here to the rice cooker, grab your gloves and grab your seaweed, I will come right back out with your kids, and I will be here to answer any questions and help you guys out. And after that, all you do is the people start getting ready. You make sure they have everything they need. You just go grab their kits from the fridge. You give everybody their appropriate kit, and all you do is walk around, help, answer any questions, entertain, things like that. There is going to be a manual that I will be sending you with a lot of stuff that you can mention as they are rolling and as they are working, such as the recipe for the rice, some of the things you might want to learn, because people do ask a lot of questions. So you might want to know how to make the rice, not necessarily, 1 cup of water to 1 cup of rice, but just general, like, you need rice and water and this and that. You might want to know things, as far as, where to get some of the fish, where to get some of this material, and we will go over all of that. But that's usually what your part of the class looks like, besides the setup and the cleanup of the class. So I am very happy to be working with you, and hopefully we can get things rolling, and welcome to the team.